Hello, my good friends. How are you today? May God bless you all. I will not introduce anything. You guys watch the video and feel it, then let's evaluate together. The office of Ellis Construction in downtown Detroit was a beacon of new beginnings, its glass walls catching the golden glow of a setting sun. Amara Ellis stood by the window, her heart pounding with a mix of triumph and disbelief. At 31, she'd just bought out her father's failing construction company, a victory carved from 6 years of grit and heartbreak. Her curls were swept into a high bun, her deep brown skin radiant against a tailored blazer with kente-inspired patterns, its vibrant golds a nod to her African heritage. Around her wrist, a worn beaded bracelet gleamed, a childhood gift from a boy she'd never forgotten. The city skyline stretched beyond, a testament to the life she'd fought for. The air smelled of fresh paint and ambition, the faint hum of Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire drifting from a speaker in the corner. Amara's fingers traced the bracelet, its faded beads warm against her skin. She was a black woman from Flint, Michigan, who'd once scraped by at a corner store, every dime spent on her brother Caleb's hospital bills. Now, she was a force, but the scars of betrayal, from her father, Thomas Reed, her sister Tanya, and even her husband Noah Carter, lingered. She hadn't seen Noah in 5 years, not since she'd fled Detroit with their son Miles, thinking he'd doubted her. Yet here she was, standing tall, with Miles playing nearby, his laughter a melody. The door swung open, and Noah Carter stepped in, his presence a quiet storm. His green eyes locked onto hers, sharp but softened by something deeper. Love, regret, hope. He held a folded paper, his tailored suit hugging his frame, his dark hair tousled. "Amara," he said, his voice low, steady. "I never signed the divorce papers. You're still my wife." Her breath caught, the room shrinking to just them. "Noah, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice trembling. Miles looked up from his toy cars, his hazel eyes, Noah's eyes, curious. Noah crossed the space, his gaze never wavering. He handed her the paper, a DNA test. "Miles is mine, Amara. And this," he said, touching the beaded bracelet on her wrist. "I gave you when we were kids, at that summer camp in Flint. You were my first friend, my first love." Tears spilled down her cheeks as memories flooded back. A boy with kind eyes, trading trinkets under a sycamore tree. She'd been 10, he'd been 12, and that bracelet had been her anchor through a childhood of loss. "It was you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Noah pulled her close, his arms a haven. "It's always been you, Amara." Their lips met, a kiss that burned through years of pain, secrets, and longing. It was fierce, desperate, a vow sealed in the quiet office. Miles ran over, tugging at Noah's leg. "Daddy!" he squealed, and Noah scooped him up, laughter mixing with tears. The moment was perfect, but shadows lingered. Amara's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Tanya and Evan are still after you. Watch your back." Her heart sank. Tanya, her sister, and Evan, her ex, had nearly destroyed her once. Were they back to finish the job? As Noah held her and Miles, Amara knew the fight wasn't over. How had they gotten here? And what would it cost to hold on to this love? The story didn't start in a gleaming office. It began 6 years earlier in Flint, Michigan, a city of rusted factories and stubborn hope. Amara Ellis, 25, stood behind the counter of a corner store, her sneakers scuffing the linoleum floor. Her hair was a cascade of curls, tucked under a headscarf printed with bold Ankara patterns. She wore a thrift store blouse with kente-inspired golds, the kind of outfit that said she was proud, even if the world didn't always see her. As one of the few black women in this working-class neighborhood, Amara was used to proving herself. her sharp wit and quiet strength her armor. The store smelled of stale coffee and cleaning spray, the radio in the back playing SZA's Good Days on low. Amara's fingers traced her beaded bracelet, a habit when her thoughts drifted. She'd grown up in Flint, raised by her mother, Lila Brooks, a retired interior designer whose dreams had been crushed by a plagiarism scandal. Her father, Thomas Reed, had remarried Marlene, and their daughter Tanya had always been the golden child, leaving Amara to fight for scraps. Now, every dollar she earned went to Caleb, her 15-year-old brother, whose heart condition was a ticking clock. "Amara, you still here?" came a voice, warm and teasing. Nia Foster, a tech analyst from Carter Industries and Amara's closest friend, leaned against the counter. Nia's braids were swept into a high ponytail, her energy as bright as her neon sneakers. "Girl, it's Friday. Come to the jazz lounge with me. You need a life outside this place." Amara laughed, ringing up a customer's soda. "Maybe you're right. I could use a drink and some good music." Nia grinned. "That's my girl. Let's roll." But Amara's plans changed that night. As she locked up, her phone buzzed with a message from a tenant in her apartment. "Meet me at the diner. 8 p.m. Urgent." Her stomach flipped. The tenant, a quiet guy named Noah, had moved in a month ago, claiming to be a drifter with an eye injury, his dark glasses always on. Why her? And why now? The diner was a slice of old Flint, its chrome stools and neon signs straight out of a movie. Amara sat in a booth, her thrift store dress, a black number with a beaded belt, feeling out of place. The air smelled of burgers and something richer, like Noah's cologne. He appeared from the shadows, his glasses off, revealing green eyes that pinned her in place. "Amara," he said, his voice smooth. "Thanks for coming. I know this is unexpected." She crossed her arms, trying to steady her nerves. "Unexpected's one way to put it. What's going on, Noah?" He slid into the booth, his expression serious. "It's about your safety. We need to talk," he explained. Evan Ward, Amara's ex-boyfriend and Noah's nephew, was plotting to steal Carter Industries' AI tech, using Amara's access to her father's construction company files. To protect her and the company, Noah proposed a marriage, a legal shield to keep Evan at bay. The ceremony would happen tonight, private and binding. Amara's head spun. "You're joking, right? I'm just a cashier. Why me?" Noah leaned closer, his gaze intense. "Because you're more than that, Amara. I've seen your strength, your heart, and I trust you." His words stirred something in her, but doubt gnawed. She'd trusted Evan once, his charm blinding her to his betrayal. Was Noah any different? "This is crazy," she said, her voice shaking. "I don't even know you." He nodded, his expression softening. "I know. But give me a chance to prove I'm on your side. Let's do this and I'll keep you safe." Against her better judgment, she agreed. The ceremony was quick. A justice of the peace in a small chapel, the city lights their only witness. Amara's hand trembled as she signed the papers, Noah's steady beside hers. Afterward, he drove her to a quiet street where they sat in his car, the rain slowing to a drizzle. "You need to breathe," he said, his voice gentle. "We both do." She hesitated, then leaned closer, the jazz of Ella Fitzgerald's Summertime humming from the radio. The air was electric, their breaths mingling. "Why do I feel like I can trust you?" she asked, her voice barely audible. He tilted her face up, his thumb brushing her cheek. "Because I see you, Amara. The real you." Her heart raced, and without thinking, she closed the distance, their lips meeting in a kiss that started soft, then deepened, hungry and desperate. "Baby," she whispered, the words slipping out, raw and unguarded. "I love you." His breath caught, and he pulled her closer, their kiss a spark igniting. "I'll always keep you safe, Amara," he murmured, his voice a vow. The moment led to a quiet intimacy, her hands finding his, their closeness a shield against the world. "You're everything," he whispered, his lips against her neck. The rain pattered outside, wrapping them in a cocoon of heat and heart. The next morning, Amara woke in her Flint apartment, the silk sheets of Noah's borrowed jacket tangled around her. Sunlight poured through the cracked window, painting the room gold. Noah was gone, a note on the nightstand. "Meeting in Detroit. Back soon. You're incredible." She smiled, but the warmth faded when her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number with a screenshot of an email from Evan to Tanya. "Amara's access got us the AI data. Carter's ours soon. Keep her distracted." A second message followed. "Your marriage is no accident. Ask Noah what he's hiding." Her hands shook, the words burning into her. Evan, the man she'd loved, had used her. Tanya, her sister, was in on it. And Noah, had he married her just to control her? She thought of last night, the car, his arms around her. Was it real, or was she a pawn in his game? Her fingers tightened around the beaded bracelet, its beads sharp against her skin. She stood, pacing the apartment, the city waking outside. Flint's factories loomed, their smokestacks like judges waiting for her next move. Amara wasn't the naive girl who'd trusted Evan. She was Mrs. Carter now, with power she was only beginning to understand. But power came with questions. Could she confront Evan and Tanya without breaking? Was Noah her ally or another manipulator? And who was sending these texts, exposing the truth at just the right moment? The apartment door opened, and Noah stepped in, his jacket damp from the drizzle. "Amara, what's wrong?" he asked, his smile fading when he saw her face. She held up her phone, her voice steady despite the storm inside. "We need to talk, Noah, about Evan, Tanya, and why you really married me." His jaw tightened, but he nodded, sitting beside her. "Okay, no more secrets, but you need to know one thing first. I'm in love with you, Amara. That's real." Her heart skipped, torn between hope and doubt. She wanted to believe him, to hold on to the man who'd kissed her like she was his world. But the truth was a tangle of lies, and Amara was done being a victim. She'd find out who was playing her, starting with the man she'd called Baby. Hey, y'all. If Amara and Noah's story has your heart racing, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Tell us which moment made you swoon. Their journey's just getting started, and trust me, the secrets and surprises are about to unravel. Stay tuned for more promises kept. Amara Ellis stood in the living room of Noah Carter's Detroit penthouse, the city's skyline a glittering maze beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. Her phone trembled in her hand, the anonymous text searing her mind. "Your marriage is no accident. Ask Noah what he's hiding." The screenshot of an email from Evan Ward, her ex, to her sister, Tanya Reed, was a knife in her chest. "Amara's access got us the AI data. Carter's ours soon. Keep her distracted." Her heart pounded, a storm of rage and hurt. Evan had used her. Tanya had betrayed her. And Noah, her new husband, was keeping secrets. The beaded bracelet on her wrist, a gift from her mother, Lila Brooks, felt like a weight, its faded colors sharp against her skin. The penthouse was a world of sleek marble and warm cedar, the faint sweetness of pecan pie Lila had brought over that morning lingering in the air. A radio in the corner played Mary J. Blige's No More Drama on low, the irony hitting Amara hard. She wore a thrift store blouse with kente-inspired patterns, its bold golds and greens a nod to her African heritage. But she felt anything but bold. Last night's moment in Noah's car, the whispered, "Baby, I love you," his arms steady around her, had felt like a lifeline. Now, doubt clouded it like smoke. Noah stood across from her, his tailored shirt rolled to his elbows, his green eyes searching hers. "Amara, talk to me," he said, his voice low, urgent. "What's on that phone?" She held it up, her voice steady despite the chaos inside. "This, Evan and Tanya, plotting to steal your AI tech, using me. And this text says our marriage wasn't just about protecting me. What aren't you telling me, Noah?" His jaw tightened, but he didn't look away. "I told you, Amara. Evan's dangerous. I married you to keep you safe from him. That's the truth." "Half the truth," she snapped, stepping closer. "You knew Evan was using me, and you didn't tell me. Why? And what's this about our marriage being no accident?" Noah ran a hand through his dark hair, his expression torn. "I didn't want to scare you. Evan's not just after the company. He's after you, to hurt me. I thought keeping you close, as my wife, would throw him off." Amara's chest ached. His words sounded sincere, but the text gnawed at her. "You should have trusted me," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm not some fragile thing you need to shield. I deserve the whole story." He nodded, stepping toward her, his hand outstretched. "You're right. I messed up. But I'm all in, Amara. I love you, and I'll prove it." She wanted to believe him, to sink into the warmth of his touch, but the sting of betrayal, Evan's, Tanya's, maybe even Noah's, held her back. "I need time," she said, turning away. "And answers." Amara's apartment in Flint was a stark contrast to the penthouse. The walls were lined with Lila's old design sketches, the air thick with the scent of cornbread and coffee. Amara sat at the kitchen table, her laptop open, the email screenshot glaring back at her. Lila bustled at the stove, her graying braids pulled into a bun, her hands calloused from years of drafting blueprints. The radio played Sade's Smooth Operator, its soulful notes a quiet comfort. "You okay, baby?" Lila asked, sliding a plate of fried chicken and collard greens across the table. Her brown eyes, sharp despite her age, missed nothing. Amara sighed, poking at the food. "Not really, Mama. Evan and Tanya, they played me, and Noah's hiding something. I don't know who to trust." Lila sat, her hand covering Amara's. "You trust yourself, Amara. Always. That bracelet I gave you, it's from someone special, someone who wanted you to find your truth. Hold on to that." Amara's fingers brushed the beaded bracelet, its mystery a nagging ache. Lila had always been vague about its origin, saying only it came from a friend when Amara was a baby. "Who gave it to you, Mama?" Amara asked, her voice soft. "Why won't you tell me?" Lila's expression tightened, her voice firm but kind. "When the time's right, you'll know. For now, focus on what's in front of you. You're stronger than you think." Amara nodded, but the weight of the unknown pressed down. She thought of Tanya, her older sister, always the star in their parents' eyes. Growing up in Flint, Amara had been the quiet one, sketching floor plans in Lila's design room while Tanya chased applause. Now, Tanya's betrayal, helping Evan steal from Carter Industries, cut deeper than Amara could admit. And Noah. His love felt real. But what if it was a lie? The Carter Industries office in Detroit was a hive of glass and steel, its open floor buzzing with coders and analysts. Amara stood at a borrowed desk, her curls pulled into a high ponytail, her blazer crisp despite the sleepless night. The office smelled of coffee and toner, the hum of printers mixing with snippets of Beyoncé's Love on Top from a coworker's speaker. Amara's screen displayed Evan's email, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. She needed proof, something to nail him and Tanya. Nia Foster slid into the chair beside her, her neon sneakers a splash of color. Girl, you look like you're plotting a revolution, Nia said, her braids swinging as she grinned. What's up? Amara showed her the email, keeping her voice low. Evan and Tanya used me to get AI data. I need to know how deep this goes. Can you dig into their files? Nia's eyes widened, but she nodded. I'm in. But be careful, Amara. Evan's got friends in high places, and Tanya's ruthless. You sure you're ready for this? I have to be, Amara said, her jaw set. They don't get to play me and walk away. Nia tapped her laptop, her fingers flying. All right, let's see what we can find. But you owe me some of Lila's cornbread for this. Amara managed to smile, but her thoughts were elsewhere. She remembered Evan's charm, his promises of forever, the late nights when she'd shared files, thinking they were routine. He'd been so smooth, his smile disarming, but now she saw the truth. He'd used her to strike at Noah's empire. Tanya's role was harder to stomach. Her sister had always envied Amara's quiet strength, her bond with Lila. Was this her revenge? A notification pinged on Amara's phone, an anonymous text with a new file. A payment record from Tanya to a hacker, dated the day Amara's access codes were compromised. The message read, "Check Carter's private server. Evan's not done." Amara's pulse quickened. Pulse. Whoever was helping her was risking everything. But why? That evening, Amara met Malik Hayes, her best friend from Flint, at a jazz lounge in Detroit's Midtown. The Rusty Note was a cozy dive with velvet curtains and sticky tables, the air alive with the wail of a saxophone and the clink of glasses. Malik, a photographer with a knack for capturing Detroit's soul, leaned across the table, his locks tied back. "You look like you're carrying the world, Amara," he said, sipping a bourbon. "Spill it." She told him about Evan, Tanya, and the mysterious texts, keeping Noah's secrets to herself. Malik whistled low. "That's some soap opera mess. But you know what? You're tougher than they think. Carter's got a big construction tech project with Monroe Real Estate coming up. Get in on it. Show 'em what you're made of." Amara raised an eyebrow, swirling her wine. "Construction? I'm a cashier, Malik. What do I know about blueprints?" "You know Lila's designs," he said, his grin wide. "Her interiors were legendary before that scandal. Use that project to honor her. Plus, I'll shoot the campaign. We'll make it fire." His words sparked something in her. Lila's sketches, tucked away in their apartment, were masterpieces, floor plans with daisy motifs and kente patterns that deserved to see the light. Maybe this was her chance to fight back, to prove she wasn't just a pawn. "Okay," she said, clinking her glass against his. "I'm in." Later that night, Amara stood on the balcony of Noah's penthouse, the city's lights a kaleidoscope below. She'd agreed to stay here until Evan was dealt with, but her heart was a tangle. Noah opened the door, his shirt unbuttoned, his hair damp from a shower. "You're back," he said, relief in his voice. "I was worried." She stepped inside, the scent of cedar and his cologne wrapping around her. "I needed to think," she said, setting her bag down. "But I'm here. For now." He nodded, his eyes soft. "I meant what I said, Amara. I love you, but I know I need to earn your trust." Her throat tightened. He was so close, his presence a pull she couldn't resist. "Then start by being honest," she said. "What's on that private server the text mentioned? And why didn't you tell me about Evan from the start?" Noah hesitated, then led her to the balcony's edge, where the night air was cool, carrying the distant hum of traffic. "The server has files on Monroe Real Estate," he said. "They're tied to a deal that could make or break Carter Industries. Evan's been trying to sabotage it, and I didn't tell you because I was scared you'd get caught in the crossfire." Amara searched his face, seeing the weight he carried. "You should have told me," she said, her voice softer now. "I'm not fragile, Noah. I'm your wife. His hand found hers, his touch warm. "I know, and I'm sorry. Let me make it right." The air crackled, and she felt the pull of him, undeniable. She stepped closer, her fingers brushing his chest. "Show me," she whispered. "Show me this is real." He tilted her chin up, their lips meeting in a kiss that started soft, then deepened, hungry and desperate. The city faded, the betrayal a distant hum. They stumbled back inside, their breaths mingling as they sank onto the couch. His hands traced her curves, gentle but urgent, and she melted into him, the beaded bracelet warm against her skin. It wasn't just passion. It was a promise, a reclaiming of trust. "Amara," he murmured, his lips against her neck. "You're everything." "I want this," she said, her voice thick, her hands in his hair. "I want you." The moment was ablaze, their bodies speaking what words couldn't. When they finally pulled apart, breathless, Amara rested her head on his chest, his heartbeat steady under her cheek. "No more secrets," she said. "Promise me." "I promise," he said, kissing her forehead. "We're in this together." The next morning, Amara sat at the penthouse's kitchen island, Lila's cornbread muffins cooling on a rack. She'd decided to join the Monroe real estate project, spurred by Malik's encouragement and her need to honor Lila. But doubts gnawed. Could she trust Noah completely? And what about the anonymous texter? Naya had sent a new file, a payment from Tanya to a hacker linked to the Monroe deal. Amara's stomach sank. Tanya wasn't just betraying her, she was targeting Lila's legacy. Her phone buzzed with a text from Malik. "Check this out." A link to a design blog featured an interview with Tanya, claiming she'd lead the Monroe project. "I'm bringing fresh vision," Tanya said, her smile sharp. Amara's blood boiled. Tanya was building her career on lies, just like the scandal that had ruined Lila. Amara clutched her bracelet, its beads catching the light. If she was going to take on Tanya and Evan, she'd need Noah's help, and his truth. But as she dialed his number, a memory surfaced. Last night, after their moment on the couch, she'd caught him on his phone, his voice low, mentioning Monroe files. The name echoed in her mind, tied to the mysterious server. "Who are you, Noah?" she whispered, her finger hovering over the call button. "And what do you know about my past?" The Detroit skyline shimmered under a noon sun, its steel towers reflecting ambition and secrets. Amara Ellis stood in the sleek lobby of Carter Industries, her heart a tight knot. The air buzzed with the hum of tech workers and the faint scent of espresso from a nearby cafe. Amara's curls bounced as she adjusted her blazer, its kente-inspired patterns a vibrant nod to her African heritage. Around her wrist, the beaded bracelet, her mother Lila Brooks' gift, felt warm, a quiet anchor in the storm of her thoughts. She was a black woman from Flint, Michigan, a cashier turned Mrs. Carter, and now she was stepping into a construction tech project that could change everything. The project, a collaboration between Carter Industries and Monroe Real Estate, was her chance to honor Lila's legacy and prove she wasn't just a pawn in Evan Ward's schemes. But the anonymous texts, revealing Evan and Tanya's plot to steal Carter's AI data, had shaken her. Worse, Noah Carter, her husband, was hiding something about the Monroe deal. Last night's intimacy, their desperate, healing kiss on the penthouse balcony, had rebuilt some trust, but his secrets about the Monroe files still stung. Could she rely on him when Tanya and Evan were closing in? And what was the truth behind her bracelet, tied to a past she didn't understand? Noah appeared from an elevator, his tailored suit hugging his frame, his green eyes softening as they met hers. "Ready for this, Amara?" he asked, his voice low and steady. She managed a smile, though her nerves jangled. As ready as I'll ever be. You sure you're not gonna ditch me for some CEO life? He chuckled, his hand brushing hers. Not a chance. We're a team, remember? His touch sent a spark through her, but doubt lingered. She wanted to believe in their love, in the heat of their moment last night. But the texts and his evasions were a shadow she couldn't shake. Let's do this, she said, squaring her shoulders. Together, they stepped into the heart of Carter Industries. The project showroom was a cathedral of innovation, all polished wood and LED screens. Designers and tech analysts mingled, their voices a hum of excitement. The air smelled of fresh linen and ambition, the kind that fueled Detroit's rise as a tech hub. Amara felt out of place in her thrift store dress, its bold Ankara print a defiant statement, but she held her head high. She was one of the few black women here, and the weight of that visibility pressed down. Malik Hayes, her best friend and a photographer, greeted her with a grin, his locks tied back. Amara, you look like you're about to slay this, he said, his camera slung around his neck. I'm shooting the campaign. Let's make Lila proud. She hugged him, grateful for his steady presence. Thanks, Malik. I need all the backup I can get. A young woman approached, her braided bun neat, her eyes warm but wary. Amara Ellis. I'm Zoe Turner, junior designer. I heard you're leading Lila's designs. I think they're incredible. Amara smiled, sensing a kindred spirit. Thanks, Zoe. Lila's my mom. Her work means everything to me. Zoe leaned closer, her voice low. I'm black too, Amara. This industry, it's tough on us. You gotta fight twice as hard to be seen. Her words hit home. Amara knew the game. Microaggressions in meetings, assumptions about her skills. I'm ready to fight, she said, her voice firm. You in? Zoe nodded, a spark in her eyes. All the way. They set up a display of Lila's sketches, interior designs with daisy motifs curling like vines, their kente patterns bold and timeless. Amara's fingers trembled as she smoothed a page, the weight of her mother's dreams heavy. Malik snapped photos, directing her to pose with the sketches. Noah watched from the sidelines, his expression a mix of pride and something unreadable. Was it guilt, or something deeper? Then a shadow fell over the display. Tanya Reed swept in, her designer heels clicking, her smile sharp as a blade. Amara, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. So, you're playing designer now? Cute. Amara's stomach twisted. Tanya's sleek ponytail and tailored jumpsuit screamed privilege, but her eyes held the same envy Amara had known since childhood. I'm honoring Mama's work, Amara said, holding her ground. Something you'd know nothing about. Tanya's smile didn't waver, but her gaze flicked to the beaded bracelet. Charming. But this is my world, little sister. Don't trip over your own ambition. She sauntered off, leaving Amara chilled. Noah stepped closer, his jaw tight. What was that about? Tanya being Tanya, Amara said, her voice low. She's up to something, Noah, I can feel it. The first day of this project was a whirlwind of presentations and brainstorming. Amara's pitch, reviving Lila's daisy designs with AI-driven sustainable materials, earned nods from the Monroe team, led by James and Clara Monroe, whose elegance masked a quiet intensity. But Tanya's presence loomed, her comments laced with subtle jabs. Amara's vision is quaint, but we need sophistication. Amara bit her tongue, her bracelet warm against her wrist. She wouldn't let Tanya win. By evening, Amara was drained, her nerves frayed. She and Noah retreated to their penthouse, its marble floors cool under her bare feet. The city's lights bled through the windows, casting a glow on Lila's sketches spread across the coffee table. Noah poured her a glass of wine, his shirt unbuttoned, revealing a sliver of tanned skin. "You were amazing today," he said, sitting beside her. "The Monroes couldn't stop talking about your pitch." She sipped the wine, the warmth loosening her shoulders. "Thanks, Noah. But Tanya, she's gunning for me. And I keep thinking about Mama. Her designs were stolen, and now I'm here, fighting the same fight." His hand found hers, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. "You're not her, Amara. You're stronger. And I'm here, every step." His touch sent a shiver through her, but so did her doubts. She set the glass down, standing. "Are you Noah? Really? You mentioned Monroe files last night. What's on that server? And why do I feel like you're still holding back?" His face tightened, and for a moment she thought he'd dodge again. Then he stood, his eyes locking onto hers. "You want the truth? Fine. The server has records from 25 years ago when Monroe Real Estate worked with Lila. Something went wrong. A scandal. A betrayal. I didn't tell you because I'm still piecing it together. But it's tied to you, Amara. To your bracelet." Her breath caught. "The bracelet? What do you mean, tied to me?" He stepped closer, his voice urgent. "I think Lila was protecting you. From what, I don't know yet. But I'm digging, Amara, for you." Her heart raced, torn between betrayal and the raw honesty in his eyes. "You should have told me," she said, her voice shaking. "I'm your wife, Noah, not some puzzle you solve in secret." "I know," he said, his voice breaking. "I was wrong, but I love you, Amara. Let me make it right." She turned away, tears stinging her eyes. The penthouse felt too small, his presence too big. "I need space," she said. "Just go." He hesitated, then nodded. "I'll be here when you're ready." The door clicked shut behind him, leaving her alone with the hum of the city. Amara couldn't sleep. She paced the penthouse, her mind a storm. Noah was digging into her past. But why hadn't he told her? And the bracelet, Lila's vague answers, its beaded design, suddenly felt like a key to something bigger. She thought of Tanya's cold smile, Evan's betrayal, the anonymous texter who seemed to know too much. The radio played low, HER's Damage filling the silence, its lyrics echoing her fears. On impulse, she grabbed her coat and headed to Carter Industries archives, using her keycard to slip inside. The building was quiet, the air cool and still. She found a box labeled Monroe-Lila Collaboration, 1990s. Her breath caught when she pulled out a photo. Lila, young and radiant, laughing with Clara Monroe, both holding sketches of daisy-patterned interiors. A note scrawled on the back read, "Lila and Clara, promises kept, 1995. Promises kept? Amara's heart pounded. That was the name of Lila's lost collection, the one stolen in the scandal. But there was more. A hospital record dated the year Amara was born, mentioning a clerical error with 2 babies. Her hands shook as she read, "Ellis infant. Possible mix-up with Monroe." Was she not Lila's daughter? Footsteps echoed, and Amara shoved the file back, slipping out before security spotted her. Her mind raced. Was Tanya the real Monroe heir? And why was Noah digging into this? She clutched her bracelet, its weight a question she wasn't ready to answer. Back at the penthouse, Amara found Noah waiting in the living room, his eyes shadowed from lack of sleep. "Amara," he said, standing. "Can we talk?" She crossed her arms, her anger softening, but not gone. "You hurt me, Noah. You knew about Mama and the Monroes, and you kept it from me. Why?" He stepped closer, his voice raw. "I was trying to protect you. The truth. It's messy, Amara. I didn't want you to face it alone." "Then don't let me," she said, her voice trembling. "Tell me everything." "Now!" He nodded, pulling out his phone to show a scanned document, a contract between Lila and Monroe Real Estate, voided after the scandal. "Lila was framed," he said. "Someone set her up, and I think it's tied to that hospital mix-up. You deserve to know who you are." Tears welled in her eyes. He was fighting for her, but the secrecy stung. "You should have trusted me," she said, stepping into his space. "I'm not just your wife, Noah. I'm your partner." The air crackled, and before she could think, she pulled him to her, their lips crashing together. The kiss was fire, raw and desperate, a release of everything they'd held back. His hand slid to her waist, pulling her against him, and she felt the world tilt. They stumbled to the bedroom, the door slamming shut. His fingers traced her skin, sparking heat, and she arched into him, her hands tugging at his shirt. "Amara," he murmured, his lips against her neck. "Tell me you want this." "I do," she whispered, her hands in his hair. "I want you." The moment was a blur of heat and heart, their bodies finding each other like they'd never been apart. It wasn't just passion, it was trust, a fragile bridge rebuilt. When they collapsed onto the bed, breathless, Amara rested her head on his chest, his heartbeat steady under her cheek. "We're gonna figure this out," Noah said, his voice rough. "Your past, Tanya, Evan, all of it." Amara nodded, but fear crept in. Tanya's sharp smile, the hospital record, the bracelet's mystery. They were pieces of a puzzle she wasn't sure she wanted to solve. And Noah, with his love and his secrets, was both her strength and her vulnerability. That night, Amara's phone buzzed with a notification, a text from Nia. "Found something." A file showed Tanya's designs for the Monroe project were stolen from Zoe Turner, credited as an assistant. Amara's heart sank. Tanya wasn't just betraying her. She was stealing from another black woman, just like Lila had been robbed. Amara clutched her bracelet, its beaded design glinting in the dark. The project was her chance to honor Lila, to prove her worth. But Tanya and Evan were closing in, and Noah's secrets loomed. Amara was out of her depth, but with Noah, Nia, and Malik by her side, she felt a spark of defiance. She'd come too far to back down now. The Detroit skyline glowed under a twilight haze, its skyscrapers casting long shadows over Carter Industries' headquarters. Amara Ellis stood in the project showroom, her heart racing as she adjusted a display of Lila Brooks' interior designs, a sustainable living space with daisy motifs shimmering across reclaimed wood, its Kenti-inspired fabrics a testament to her mother's genius. The air crackled with anticipation, the Monroe Real Estate collaboration nearing its critical showcase. Amara's curls were adorned with gold beads, her dress a bold Ankara print that hugged her curves, a quiet rebellion in a room of sleek suits and skeptical glances. Around her wrist, the beaded bracelet glowed, a reminder of the truth she was chasing. The discovery of her possible true parentage, that she might be the daughter of James and Clara Monroe, swapped at birth, had shaken her to the core. The hospital record, Lila's vague answers about the bracelet, and Noah Carter's secrecy about the Monroe files swirled in her mind. Tanya Reed, her sister, was stealing designs from Zoe Turner, a young black designer, echoing the scandal that had ruined Lila. Evan Ward, Amara's ex, was orchestrating a corporate coup, and the anonymous texts, likely from her friend Nia Foster, kept her one step ahead, but the cost was high. Amara felt like a tightrope walker, balancing love, betrayal, and a legacy she wasn't sure she could carry. Noah stood nearby, his tailored jacket accentuating his broad shoulders, his green eyes scanning the room. "You're killing it, Amara," he said, his voice low, warm. "This project's yours." She managed a smile, but her nerves were raw. Thanks, Noah. But Tanya's out there, and I don't trust her. Or Evan. His jaw tightened, his hand brushing hers. We'll handle them. Together. His touch was a spark, but doubt lingered. Their bedroom embrace last night, a blaze of trust and desire, had anchored her. But the truth about her identity was a storm she couldn't outrun. Let's just get through this, she said, her voice steady despite the butterflies. The showroom was a flurry of activity, designers tweaking displays, tech analysts syncing AI material demos. Amara worked with Zoe, whose braided bun and quiet intensity mirrored her own. These designs are Lila's soul, Zoe said, pinning a sketch to a board. Tanya's trying to pass them off as hers, but we'll set it right. Amara nodded, her fingers trembling. We have to. For Mama. For you. Malik Hayes, Amara's photographer friend, circled the display, his camera clicking. Y'all are about to make history, he said, his locks swinging. But watch your back, Amara. Tanya's got that snake vibe. As if on cue, a stagehand fumbled a lighting rig above Amara's station. The metal creaked, tilting dangerously. Amara, move! Noah shouted, lunging from the sidelines. He yanked her back just as the rig crashed, sparks flying. The crowd gasped, staff rushing over. Amara's heart pounded, her breath ragged in Noah's arms. You okay? He asked, his hands checking her for injuries, his face pale. She nodded, shaken. That wasn't an accident, Noah. Someone's trying to stop me. He turned to the stagehand, who stammered. I got a note, said it was from the organizers. I swear. Noah's eyes darkened. Evan, he muttered, low enough for only Amara to hear. Or Tanya. Amara's blood ran cold. A blog post accusing her of plagiarism had already spread online, and now this? Tanya and Evan weren't just sabotaging her. They were dangerous. She clutched her bracelet, its familiar weight grounding her. We need proof, she said. If they're behind this, we can't let them walk away. Noah squeezed her hand. Nia's digging into their emails. My team's on it, too. We'll nail them, Amara. Your team? Amara raised an eyebrow, her voice sharp. You mean your CEO squad? You still haven't told me everything, Noah. He winced, but before he could respond, Nia appeared, her eyes wide. Amara, you need to see this. She showed her phone, a payment record from Tanya to a hacker, dated the day the blog post dropped. My tech buddy traced it. Tanya's definitely smearing you. Amara's hands shook as she read. This is it. Proof she's lying, but it's not enough to stop her. It's a start, Noah said, his voice firm. Focus on the showcase. Show them who you are. She nodded, but fear coiled tighter. Tanya was a predator, and Amara was her prey. That night, Amara sat alone in the penthouse, Lila's sketches scattered across the coffee table. The city's hum filtered through the windows, a mix of car horns and distant jazz from a street performer. She'd found a letter in Lila's old design box, mailed from Flint. Amara's not mine by blood, but she's my heart. It was unsigned, dated the year Amara was born. Her breath caught. Not Lila's daughter? The words didn't make sense, but they echoed the hospital record, the bracelet's mystery. A knock broke her thoughts. Noah stood in the doorway, his flannel shirt rolled to his elbows, his eyes soft with worry. You okay, Amara? You've been quiet all day. She set the letter down, her voice trembling. I don't know anymore. This letter, it says I'm not Mama's daughter. And Tanya, Evan, the rig, it's too much. He crossed to her, sitting on the couch. Hey, we'll figure it out. The letter, Tanya, all of it. You're not alone. His words cracked something open in her. She leaned into him, tears spilling. I'm scared, Noah. Scared I'll lose everything. Mama's legacy, you, myself. He pulled her close, his arms strong around her. You won't lose me, Amara. Ever. He tilted her face up, his thumb brushing her tears. Let me take you somewhere. Clear your head. The Carter Industries rooftop was a sanctuary, the city sprawling below like a canvas of stars. The air was sharp, carrying the faint scent of rain and magnolia. Noah led Amara to the edge where a low wall overlooked Detroit's lights, the Renaissance Center, the Guardian Building, a million dreams twinkling. The radio they'd brought played Sessa's Garden, Say It Like Dat, its soft rhythm wrapping them in intimacy. Remember Flint? Noah asked, his voice soft. We'd sneak to the riverfront, dreaming of the world. I never stopped dreaming of you, Amara, even when you pushed me away. Her chest ached. I didn't know it was you, Noah. That boy at camp. I thought I was just helping a kid who looked lost. You did more than that, he said, turning to her. You gave me hope, Amara. And now, I see you. The woman who's fighting for her mom, for herself. You're everything. His eyes held hers, fierce and tender, and she felt the pull of him, undeniable. She stepped closer, her hands finding his chest. Why do you believe in me so much? She whispered. Because I love you, he said, his voice rough. Always have. Their lips met, a slow burn igniting into something fiercer. The kiss was a vow, a defiance of the chaos closing in. His hand slid to her waist, pulling her against him, and she melted, the city fading to a hum. They stumbled to a shadowed corner, hidden by a trellis of ivy, their breaths ragged. His fingers traced her skin, sparking heat, and she arched into him, her hands tugging at his shirt. Noah, she murmured, her voice thick. I need you. I'm yours, he whispered, his lips grazing her neck. Always. The moment was a blaze of connection, their bodies speaking what words couldn't. It was more than desire. It was trust, a reclaiming of each other amidst the storm. When they finally pulled apart, breathless, Amara rested her forehead against his, the city's pulse matching her own. We're gonna stop them, Noah said, his voice low. Tanya, Evan, they're going down. Amara nodded, a fire kindling in her chest. For Mama, for us. Back in the penthouse, Amara prepared for the next day's showcase, her resolve hardened. Nia and Malik joined her, their support a lifeline. Nia braided Amara's hair, weaving in gold beads that caught the light. You're a queen, Amara, Nia said, her hands steady. Go show them. Malik shared more evidence, a leaked email from Tanya to a stagehand, hinting at disrupting Amara's display. It's not airtight, he warned, but Noah's team is digging deeper. Amara glanced at Noah, who was on his phone, coordinating with his investigators. The CEO power he'd kept hidden was becoming clearer. Hackers, private eyes, resources she couldn't fathom. It awed her, but it also scared her. How well did she know this Noah? As they worked late, jazz from a nearby club drifted through the window, John Legend's ordinary people wrapping the room in warmth. Amara sketched, her pencil flying, each daisy a tribute to Lila. But the letter's words haunted her. Not mine by blood. And Tanya's cold smile loomed, a promise of worse to come. Then Nia's phone pinged with a new file. Security footage from the showroom, showing Evan tampering with the lighting rig. Amara's stomach dropped. He tried to hurt me, she whispered, her voice shaking. And Tanya knew. Noah's jaw clenched. Not on my watch. We'll bury them with this. But before they could plan, Noah's phone rang. He answered, his face paling. What? When? He hung up, turning to Amara, his voice urgent. There's been an accident. My car. It was rigged. I was supposed to be in it. Amara's heart stopped. Evan, she said, her voice barely audible. He's not just after the company. He's after you. Noah pulled her close, his arms a shield. We'll stop him, Amara. I promise. But as she clung to him, fear surged. The footage, the letter, the bracelet, it was all connected, and Evan's schemes were escalating, threatening everything she loved. She thought of Lila, waiting in Flint, unaware of the storm breaking. Amara was a cashier in a ruthless game, but with Noah by her side, she felt a flicker of strength. She'd fight, for her mother, for her love, for the truth about who she was. The Detroit showroom was a symphony of light and sound, the Carter Industries and Monroe real estate showcase moments away from its peak. Amara Ellis stood backstage, her emerald gown shimmering with daisy embroidery, its Kente-inspired patterns a bold declaration of her heritage. The crowd's anticipation pulsed through the air, a tidal wave of awe for her sustainable interior designs, spaces that wove her mother Lila Brooks' vision into every reclaimed wood panel and eco-friendly fabric. Amara's curls were adorned with gold beads, her deep brown skin glowing under the stage lights, and the beaded bracelet around her wrist gleamed, a symbol of love, truth, and triumph. She was a black woman from Flint, Michigan, carrying a legacy and a secret that could unravel everything. She might be the daughter of James and Clara Monroe, swapped at birth in a hospital mix-up. The showroom was a cathedral of ambition, its glass walls reflecting the crowd's polished chatter. The scent of lavender perfume and new fabric filled the air, mingling with the faint hum of Beyoncé's Freedom from the sound system. Amara's designs were ready, showcased on virtual tours that lit up massive screens, but the weight of her discoveries pressed down. A letter from Lila's design box had hinted Amara wasn't her biological daughter, and a hospital record suggested a connection to the Monroes. Tanya Reed, raised as the Monroe heir, was stealing designs from Zoe Turner, a young black designer, while Evan Ward, Amara's ex, had rigged a car to harm Noah Carter, her husband, nearly costing his life. But now, with Tanya exposed and Evan cornered, Amara stood tall, her mother's sketchbook in hand, ready to claim her victory. Noah stood beside her, his green eyes fierce with determination, his suit jacket unbuttoned. He'd survived the car sabotage, but the threat loomed. "You've got this, Amara," he said, his hand on her shoulder. "Show them who you are." She nodded, clutching her bracelet. "I'm trying, Noah. But Tanya's out there and Evan, he's not done. And you? Why didn't you tell me about the Monroe files sooner?" His jaw tightened, but he met her gaze. "I was wrong to keep it from you. I'm here now, Amara. All in." His words were a lifeline, but doubt lingered. Their rooftop kiss last night, a blaze of trust and desire, had anchored her, but the truth about her identity was a storm she couldn't outrun. "Let's just get through this," she said, her voice steady despite the butterflies. The showcase began, a whirlwind of light and sound. Virtual tours of Amara's designs played to the pulsing beat of Alicia Keys's Girl on Fire, their eco-friendly spaces dazzling the crowd. Amara's heart pounded as she prepared to speak, her breath shallow. The judges, a panel of construction and tech moguls, sat in the front row, their pens poised. Tanya watched from a VIP box, her blonde-streaked ponytail a stark contrast to her cold smile. Amara's bracelet glinted, a quiet defiance. Her moment came, and she stepped forward, her voice clear. "These designs belong to my mother, Lila Brooks," she said, holding up Lila's sketchbook, its pages worn but vibrant. Years ago, her work was stolen, her name dragged through the mud. Today, I'm here to set the record straight. The crowd hushed, hanging on her words. Cameras flashed, the press scribbling notes. Amara's gaze found Noah, his steady presence grounding her. The music swelled, John Legend's All of Me pulsing through the speakers, and her virtual tours played one last time. The designs glowed, daisies curling across sustainable materials, kente patterns shimmering under virtual lights. The crowd applauded, but then the projector flickered. The screen lit up with doctored images, screenshots claiming her designs were copied from an obscure firm. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amara froze, her worst fears unfolding. Not again. Before panic could take hold, Noah strode onto the stage, his presence commanding. "Stop the show!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "This is a setup, and we have proof." The judges exchanged glances, confused. Tanya's smile faltered, her hands gripping the railing of her box. Amara's heart raced as Noah signaled to Nia Foster, who connected a laptop to the projector. A video played, hacked emails from Tanya to a hacker, detailing plans to forge the plagiarism evidence. Another clip showed Evan paying the stagehand who'd sabotaged the lighting rig. The room erupted in whispers. Amara stared at Noah, her mind reeling. "How did you get this?" she whispered. He leaned close, his voice low. "Nia and my team. We're not letting them bury you." The judges called for a recess to review the evidence, and the crowd buzzed with speculation. Amara pulled Noah aside, her voice shaking. "You're a CEO with hackers and investigators. Why didn't you tell me you had this kind of power?" His eyes softened, but there was steel beneath. "I didn't want to overwhelm you, Amara, but I'm using everything I've got to protect you. You mad?" She searched his face, torn between awe and frustration. "Not mad, just trying to keep up. You're not the boy from Flint I thought I knew." "I'm still him," he said, his hand on her arm, just with more at stake. "Trust me, okay?" Before she could respond, Nia rushed over, her eyes wide. "Amara, we found something else, about your bracelet." Malik Hayes joined them, his camera dangling. "My tech guy cross-checked records. That bracelet? It's a Monroe family heirloom, given to their daughter at birth. Tanya's been dodging questions about it, but the hospital where you were born. There was a mix-up, Amara. 2 babies, same night." Amara's breath caught. The letter, not mine by blood, flashed in her mind. "You're saying I'm the Monroe's daughter?" "It's looking that way," Nia said. "Noah's team is pulling hospital files to confirm, but Tanya knows something. That's why she's coming for you." Amara's legs wobbled, and Noah steadied her. "We'll get answers," he said, "but right now, you've got a show to finish." She nodded, her mind a storm. The Monroe's daughter? It was too much, but the bracelet felt like a key, unlocking truths she wasn't ready to face. Backstage, Amara prepared for the resumed show, her hands shaking as she adjusted a virtual display. Nia braided her hair, weaving in more gold beads for luck. "You're a warrior, Amara," Nia said, her voice fierce. "Go out there and own it." Malik snapped photos, his grin wide. "The judges are shook, but your designs are the talk of the show. Keep pushing." Amara glanced at Noah, who was on his phone coordinating with his team. His authority, once a secret, was now her shield. But the revelation about her bracelet and her possible parentage threatened to unravel her. She thought of Lila, the woman who'd raised her, loved her, taught her to dream. Blood or not, Lila was her mother. Yet the Monroes, James and Clara, were out there, watching her designs, unaware of the truth. The show resumed, and Amara's collection dazzled. The crowd applauded, but Tanya's absence from her box was conspicuous. Amara whispered to Noah, "Where is she?" "Running scared," he said, his eyes narrowing. My team's closing in. After the show, Amara slipped into a quiet corner to catch her breath. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nia. Check this out. A photo showed Lila and Clara Monroe, young and laughing, with a note. Promises kept. Our baby, 1995. Amara's heart stopped. Promises Kept was the name of Lila's stolen collection, and now, it seemed, a clue to her own story. She found Noah in the hallway, his face grim. Amara, I need to tell you something. My investigators confirmed it. The hospital records show a clerical error. 2 babies swapped the night you were born. You're James and Clara's daughter. Tanya's been living your life. Amara's knees buckled, and Noah caught her. This can't be real, she whispered. Lila's my mom. She's all I've got. She is your mom, Noah said, his voice fierce. Blood doesn't change that. But the Monroes deserve to know, and Tanya needs to face the truth. Tears stung her eyes. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I only got the proof today, he said, his hands framing her face. I didn't want to hurt you, Amara, but I'm here, whatever comes next. She leaned into him, the world spinning. The bracelet, the letter, the Monroes. It was too much. But Noah's arms were steady, his love a lifeline. What do we do now? She asked. We confront Tanya, he said. Tonight, before the final judging. She's cornered, and she knows it. The showroom was emptying, the judges deliberating in a private room. Amara and Noah found Tanya in a back office, her face pale, her hands clutching a tablet. She stood as they entered, her voice icy. What do you want? Haven't you done enough? Noah stepped forward, his presence commanding. We know the truth, Tanya. Amara's the Monroe's daughter. You've been living a lie, and you've been trying to destroy her to keep it. Tanya's eyes widened, but she laughed, a brittle sound. You have no proof. I'm a Monroe. You're nothing but a Flint nobody. Amara's anger flared. She held up her bracelet, its beaded design glinting. This says otherwise. It's your family's heirloom, isn't it? You saw it and panicked. That's why you've been coming for me. Tanya's composure cracked, her voice rising. You can't prove anything! My parents will never believe you! Noah pulled out a folder, his voice calm but deadly. Hospital records, DNA markers, witness statements. It's over, Tanya. You paid to smear Lila years ago, and now you're doing it to Amara. We've got the emails, the bank transfers. You're done. Tanya lunged for the folder, but Noah held it out of reach. Security's on their way, he said. You can talk to them. She backed away, her eyes wild. You'll ruin everything. I built this life. You stole it, Amara said, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. You took my mother's dreams, and you tried to take mine. But I'm still standing. Tanya's face twisted, but before she could respond, security entered, their radios crackling. Ms. Reed, you need to come with us, one said. As they led her away, Amara sagged against Noah, her strength spent. Is it true? She whispered. Am I really their daughter? It's true, he said, his lips brushing her forehead. But you're still you, Amara, Lila's daughter, my wife, the woman who's going to change the world. She nodded, tears falling. The showcase wasn't over, and the judge's decision loomed. But the truth about her bracelet, her birth, had shifted everything. She thought of Lila, waiting back in Flint, unaware of the storm breaking. Blood or not, Lila was her heart. Yet the Monroes, James and Clara, were out there, and Amara's future was a question mark. That night, Amara returned to the hospital where Noah had been taken after the car sabotage. He'd insisted on checking his condition, a precaution after Evan's attack. In his room, the air was cool, the monitors beeping softly. Amara sat beside him, her hand in his, the bracelet warm against her wrist. I don't know how to do this, she said, her voice soft. Be a Monroe. Face Tanya's lies. Keep fighting. Noah squeezed her hand, his eyes fierce despite his fatigue. You don't have to do it alone, Amara. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. She leaned in, their foreheads touching, the world narrowing to just them. I thought I'd lost you, she whispered. When that car... You didn't, he said, his voice rough. And you won't. He pulled her closer, their lips meeting in a kiss that was soft, then urgent, a reaffirmation of their love. His hands cradled her face, gentle but possessive, and she melted into him, the hospital fading to a hum. It wasn't just a kiss. It was a promise, a tether to the future they'd fight for. Baby, she said, her voice thick, the word a vow from their first night. I love you. I love you too, he murmured, his breath warm against her skin. Forever. The moment was a quiet blaze, their closeness a shield against the chaos. As they pulled apart, Amara rested her head on his shoulder, the monitor's steady beep a reminder of how close she'd come to losing him. She hadn't told him about the baby yet. The secret was too big, too fragile. But with Tanya cornered and the truth about her bracelet revealed, Amara felt a spark of hope. The final judging was tomorrow, and Evan was still out there, his schemes a shadow. She was Amara Ellis, daughter of Lila, maybe a Monroe, and she was ready to claim her place. The Detroit showroom was a sea of light and sound, the final showcase of the Carter Industries and Monroe real estate project reaching its crescendo. Amara Ellis stood center stage, her white gown sparkling with daisy embroidery, its Kente-inspired patterns a bold declaration of her heritage. The crowd's applause thundered, a tidal wave of awe for her sustainable interior designs, spaces that wove her mother Lila Brooks' stolen dreams into every reclaimed wood panel and eco-friendly fabric. Amara's curls were swept into a high bun, gold beads glinting in her hair, and her beaded bracelet glowed against her wrist, a symbol of love, truth, and triumph. She was a black woman from Flint, Michigan, and tonight she was unstoppable. The air was thick with the scent of lavender and ambition, virtual tours of her designs glowing on massive screens. The showcase was a cathedral of innovation, its glass walls reflecting the crowd's polished chatter. Amara's nerves were electric, the weight of her discoveries pressing down. She'd learned she was the daughter of James and Clara Monroe, swapped at birth in a hospital mix-up, her bracelet a Monroe heirloom proving the truth. Tanya Reed, raised as the Monroe heir, had stolen designs from Zoe Turner and conspired with Evan Ward to sabotage Amara and Carter Industries. Evan's schemes had escalated to a rigged car accident targeting Noah Carter, her husband, nearly costing his life. But now, with Tanya exposed and Evan cornered, Amara stood tall, her mother's sketchbook in hand, ready to claim her victory. Noah watched from the front row, his green eyes blazing with pride. His investigators had unearthed Tanya's emails and Evan's payments, proving their lies. Nia Foster and Malik Hayes, her allies, stood backstage, their cheers a quiet anchor. But the weight of her new identity, Amara Monroe, daughter of James and Clara, pressed against her heart. She hadn't faced them yet, and the thought made her tremble. Lila, waiting in Flint, was her true mother, blood or not? Or could she bridge these worlds? Amara stepped to the microphone, her voice clear despite the butterflies. These designs belong to my mother, Lila Brooks, she said, holding up Lila's weathered sketchbook. Years ago, her work was stolen, her name dragged through the mud. Tonight, I'm here to set the record straight. This is her truth, and mine. The crowd hushed, hanging on her words. Cameras flashed, the press scribbling furiously. Amara's gaze found Noah, his steady presence grounding her. The music swelled, SZA's snooze pulsing through the speakers, and her virtual tours played one last time. The designs dazzled, daisies curling across sustainable materials, kente patterns shimmering under virtual lights. The crowd rose, their applause deafening. Amara bowed, tears stinging her eyes. She'd done it. For Lila, for herself, for the girl who'd once thought she'd never leave Flint. The judge's deliberation was swift. As the crowd settled, the head judge, a silver-haired woman with a commanding presence, stepped forward. After reviewing the evidence, she said, "We've concluded that Amara Ellis's designs are original, rooted in Lila Brooks's legacy. The accusations against her were fabricated. Ms. Ellis, you are the winner of this year's Carter-Monroe collaboration." The room erupted, cheers and whistles filling the air. Naya rushed on stage, enveloping Amara in a hug. "You did it, girl," she shouted, her braids swinging. Malik snapped photos, his grin wide. "You're a legend, Amara." Amara's legs wobbled, the victory sinking in. She searched for Noah, finding him pushing through the crowd, his smile brighter than the stage lights. He reached her, pulling her into his arms. "I told you, Amara," he whispered, his lips grazing her ear. "You're unstoppable." She clung to him, her voice breaking. "I couldn't have done it without you." Before they could say more, a hush fell over the crowd. James and Clara Monroe stepped onto the stage, their presence commanding. James, tall and silver-haired, carried a quiet dignity, while Clara, elegant in a sapphire gown, had eyes shimmering with tears. They stopped before Amara, their gazes fixed on her beaded bracelet. "Ms. Ellis," James said, his voice thick, "that bracelet, it's ours, given to our daughter 26 years ago." Clara reached out, her hand trembling. "We lost her in a hospital mix-up. But that bracelet, it's proof. You're our daughter, aren't you?" Amara's breath caught, the world tilting. She'd known this moment was coming, but facing it was like stepping into a fire. I think so," she said, her voice barely audible. "But Lila Brooks is my mom. She raised me, loved me. I don't know how to do this." Clara's tears spilled and she pulled Amara into a gentle embrace. "We're not here to take that away," she said. "We just want to know you, to make things right." James nodded, his hand on Amara's shoulder. "We failed you, letting you slip away. But we're here now, if you'll have us." Amara's chest ached, torn between the family she knew and the one she'd lost. She looked at Noah, his steady presence grounding her. "I need time," she said finally. "But I want to try." The crowd applauded, moved by the reunion, but Amara felt exposed, raw. She needed Lila, needed to know her mother, her true mother, by heart if not blood, was okay. The aftermath was a blur of interviews and congratulations. Amara dedicated her win to Lila, her voice breaking as she spoke to reporters. "This is for my mom, who never gave up, even when the world turned against her." The press ate it up, her story. A black woman rising from Flint to reclaim her family's legacy, going viral. Tanya Reid's fate was sealed. Noah's team had delivered airtight evidence, emails, bank records, a confession from the hacker she'd hired. Security had escorted her from the showroom, and whispers of fraud and conspiracy charges followed. Evan Ward was arrested after Nia's footage proved he'd rigged Noah's car. His corporate coup dismantled. Amara refused to dwell on them, telling a reporter, "Justice is served. I'm focused on the future." That night, Noah took Amara to a quiet diner in Detroit's Eastern Market, its neon sign buzzing in the window. They sat in a vinyl booth sharing a plate of sweet potato fries, the jukebox playing Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. The normalcy was a balm after the chaos. "You were incredible today," Noah said, his hand covering hers. "I've never been prouder." She smiled, her fingers tracing his. You're not so bad yourself, Mr. CEO. Thanks for having my back. His expression softened. Always, Amara. But there's one more thing we need to talk about. Her heart skipped. What? He leaned closer, his voice low. Us. I lost you once, back in Flint. And I'm not doing it again. Marry me, Amara. For real this time. No secrets. No schemes. The words stole her breath. She saw the boy she'd met at summer camp. The man who'd fought for her in Detroit. Yes, she whispered, tears falling. Yes, Noah. They kissed across the table, sweet potato fries forgotten, the diner fading to a hum. It was a promise, a future stitched from their past. Weeks later, Amara stood in a grand Detroit ballroom, her white wedding gown sparkling with daisy embroidery. The room was alive with music, Mary J. Blige's Family Affair, and laughter, a mix of Flint friends and industry elites. Lila sat in the front row, radiant in a gown Amara had designed, her career revived as Monroe Real Estate's creative consultant. Nia and Malik danced nearby, their joy infectious. The beaded bracelet hung against Amara's wrist, a symbol of love and truth. Noah, dashing in a tuxedo, took her hand, his eyes never leaving hers. You're beautiful, Amara, he whispered, leading her to the dance floor. She leaned into him, her heart full. You changed my life, Noah. I thought I'd lost you forever. He tilted her chin up, his voice soft. You're my home, Amara. Always will be. Their kiss sealed the moment, the crowd cheering, but as the ceremony began, a commotion erupted. Tanya burst through the doors, her face twisted with desperation. You can't do this, she shouted, waving legal papers. She's not the Monroe heir. I am. Gasps rippled through the room. James and Clara stood, their expressions shocked. Amara's heart raced, but Noah stepped forward, his voice calm. It's over, Tanya. We have the proof. He signaled to his team, who presented a sealed report, an independent DNA test, untouchable by Tanya's lawyers. The results were clear. Amara shared DNA with James and Clara. Tanya did not. The room fell silent, the truth undeniable. Clara approached Amara, tears streaming. You're our daughter, she said, her voice breaking. We've been searching for you all these years. James embraced her, his warmth certain. We love you, Amara. We always will. Tanya lunged, her voice a scream. I built this life. You can't take it. But police, alerted by Noah's team, stepped in, cuffing her. Charges of fraud, theft, and conspiracy awaited, her stolen life dismantled. Amara turned to Noah, her voice choked. You knew. You made this happen. He nodded, his eyes soft. I wanted you to have the truth, Amara, and the life you deserve. She kissed him, the crowd erupting again. The ceremony continued, Amara and Noah exchanging vows under a canopy of daisies. As they danced, a small scruffy dog bounded in, its tail wagging. Amara gasped. It was Daisy, the stray they'd fed by the Flint riverfront years ago, now wearing a tiny daisy collar. You kept her? She asked, tears falling as she knelt to pet the dog. Noah grinned. Named her Daisy, after you. Couldn't let her go, any more than I could let you. The guests laughed, the moment sealing their past to their future. The reception was a celebration of love and family. Amara addressed the crowd, her voice steady. This isn't just about me and Noah, she said. It's about fighting for what's right. My mom, Lila, taught me to never give up. She lost everything, but she gave me strength. And Noah believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. She turned to James and Clara, her new family. I'm honored to be your daughter, but Lila's my heart. I want us to build this together." The Monroes nodded, their respect clear. They announced Amara's role as co-chair of Monroe Real Estate, alongside Lila, to redesign the company's future with Daisy-inspired sustainable designs rooted in Black culture. The guests applauded, moved by the reunited family. As the night wound down, Amara and Noah slipped onto a balcony, the city sparkling below. Her gown caught the moonlight, her bracelet glowing. "I used to think I was nobody," she said, leaning against him. "Just a girl with dreams too big." He wrapped his arms around her, his voice warm. "You were never nobody, Amara. You're my everything." She smiled, her fears gone. "And you're mine." Their wedding night was a quiet haven, a suite overlooking the city. The intimacy was soft, profound, a celebration of their journey. Under the stars, they found each other, two hearts woven into one, eternal as the daisies they'd always carry. The moment whispered, fading to the sound of Detroit's pulse. The ballroom glowed as the party continued. Lila danced with James, her laughter free. Clara chatted with Naya, bridging worlds. Daisy, the dog, curled up near the cake, a guest sneaking her a treat. Amara and Noah returned, hand in hand, their love a beacon. Amara's voice closed the story, a quiet reflection. "I learned that no matter where you start, you can write your own ending. Fight for love, for family, for truth. That's the promise that carries us all." The screen faded, leaving a legacy of hope. Thank you for joining Amara and Noah on this incredible journey. If their story of love, justice, and dreams inspired you, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Tell us which moment stole your heart. Let's keep the promises alive.